One of the biggest cancers of our decade has to be the mentality that everything is political. Because ever since I've heard it, I noticed that entertainment is becoming very boring and dull, while politics are becoming very entertaining. Like the idea of having the president of Ukraine go to the Oscars, to me, it's a little bit hilarious. Like, why are you taking a politician and you're putting him in a scenario where there's actors and they're talking about fiction? And you're bringing like the horrors of war to a place where it's supposed to be about entertainment. That's funny to me. I don't know. But on the other hand, the entertainment, the Oscars, never had lower ratings than they have now. Interesting how that is. Now, Zelenskyy was turned down from the Oscars twice in a row. And I assumed it was for the same reason that the Toronto Film Festival turned him down. Because according to them, they do not comment on discussions with dignitaries, government officials, or international embassies. The festival does stand in solidarity with Ukraine, both at home and abroad, and is proud to showcase the depth and creativity of Ukrainian filmmakers, but they don't want to get political. Can anyone complain about that? Like, that seems to be common sense, right? So I thought that the Oscars have common sense as well, but then I realized that, hold on a little bit, most of the insanity that's coming from the United States is also coming from Hollywood. And then you realize that the reason Zelenskyy was not invited at the Oscars is due to the executive producer Will Packer was concerned. All right, like he couldn't sleep at night. He was concerned because giving Zelenskyy airtime due to the fact that everyone involved in the conflict is white. And previous tragedies involving people of color did not receive the same level of attention. Ah yes, the Trevor Noah brainlet take. The reason people are concerned about Ukraine is the fact that Russia is involved. Russia has nuclear weapons. Nuclear warfare means the end. Okay, like it's called mutual assured destruction. It means that the planet dies. White people would perish. Minorities would perish. It's not good. It's not good. This is why people care so much about Ukraine, because of the tensions between NATO and Russia. Okay, like if China were to invade Taiwan, China being a minority, right, like they're not white, people would probably care about that a little bit more than Ukraine if it happened. But this is Hollywood. This is the limit of their brain function. Like, this is where their processors clock at. They look at the world, white people, and therefore, like literally, they think about genetics. They don't even know that Russia, for example, is far more diverse than the United States. It's far more ethnically diverse than the US. There's more languages in Russia, but they're looking at it and it's like, white people. It frightens them. Like white people really scares the people at Hollywood. You know what? I will help them because I really care about them and I understand their struggle. You know, they want to be more diverse and I want to help them with that. I do not watch the Oscars because I want to diversify their audience. Okay, so I know that they don't like the fact that I'm a straight cisgender white man. Like, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm sorry. But there is one thing that I can help them with, right? Me, by not watching, creates a safe and inclusive space for the other people watching. Right? Like, by removing myself, by not watching, their percentage of minorities that do watch increase. Right? So I'm giving my spot. This is what I'm doing. I'm stepping back from watching the Oscars so that the minority can take my place. And that way we can diversify their audience so that they can be diverse on screen and behind the screen. Isn't that lovely? I think everyone should do that. I definitely think it's an initiative worth pursuing. The audience should also be diverse and inclusive, not just the people on the Oscars at the stage. But yeah, no, like, this is the Trevor Noah brainlet take. Like, he was like, oh, why do so many people care about the conflict in Ukraine? It's like, well, because the last time there was a war in Europe, it sparked a world war. That's why. Right? Like, and again, like, if Pakistan and India would have at it, people would care. Like, it's not about the race. It's more about the power of destruction that the nations have and their capabilities of dragging other nations into the conflict. And this idea that, oh, well, like, when minorities are fighting, no one cares. It depends on the region. Like, I'm pretty sure the people in that region care a lot. Like, if you have a war into the country next to you, you care. And I'm pretty sure that when it comes to Ukraine, fewer Americans care about it than Romanians. Why? Because I'm literally next to the border. Like, it's impossible not to care by the geographical position that you're in. And as you move further away from the conflict, like, for example, in Greece, people probably care less than Romanians. It's got nothing to do with race. But, like, these people are such raging racists that they cannot understand the world through any other prism. Like, I genuinely wonder if the Nazis were more or less racist than Hollywood at this point. Like, how on earth can you look at a world conflict and immediately go, like, how does race play into this? And not to mention, they also think all white people are the same. Right? Like, for them, Russians, Ukrainians, same shit, right? Like, there's no difference. And the fact, like, they can say this without getting any sort of backlash, without getting any sort of criticism, goes to show that, yeah, you know, America maybe is systemically racist. Like, when you get to say stuff like this, it's like, yeah, well, we're not going to get the president of Ukraine because we don't want to give airtime when white people are having conflict. It's not about that, you know? And by the way, like, no one stopped them from giving airtime to any other president. Like, who stopped them? I mean, I guess first and foremost, most wartime presidents don't ask to be invited at the Oscars simply because they have more important things to do, like running warfare. And, you know, like, that's their main job when their nation is in conflict. So I would assume that that may be the reason. Like, first of all, non-white people, when they have warfare, they do not go to Hollywood, right? So, number one. Number two, maybe they did go, and they weren't received. And whose fault is it? But again, it's so interesting because this is a PR problem, right? Like, you could have given any other reason. Like, literally any reason. They could have said, look, this exactly like what the Toronto Film Festival said. Look, this is about movies. This is about entertainment. We don't think it's appropriate because the conflict in Ukraine is a serious issue, a tragic issue. We cannot mix that with entertainment and movies. You know, we cannot have Bambi winning the Oscar and then talking about Ukraine. That doesn't make sense. If they would have said that, literally no one would have complained. But I guess, like, the reason most people aren't complaining is the fact that no one watches the Oscars and no one probably cares. You know, the only people that care are the actors that congratulate themselves, and then they talk about how bad you are for polluting the planet, how bad you are for not sharing your wealth before they go into their private yachts, before they go into their private jets, and polluting more than you will ever be able to pollute in your entire fucking life. And by the way, like, last time there were the Oscars, they had to kick out all the homeless people from the area so that you can have the actors come in and talk about how progressive they are and how much we need to share the wealth and help the poor. It's like, it's one of the most disgusting displays of human hypocrisy that exists in the world right now. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section.